Hi, I'm David Hyatt, and welcome to Autofocus. We're going to be talking about the commercial truck market today with our guest, Chris Visser. Chris is Senior Analyst with the Commercial Truck Guide at the National Automobile Dealers Association. Chris, I understand that as the commercial truck market goes, so goes the American economy. Is that true?
The trucking is a canary in the coal mine. It's definitely a leading indicator for the health of the economy.
And what is it telling us right now?
Things aren't as bleak as a lot of the talking heads might have you believe. Really, the only shaky situation right now is in the stock markets, the global and the domestic stock markets. That's based on uncertainty. It's based on the Eurozone crisis, but that hasn't carried over to the manufacturing sector of the domestic economy. So I think the American economy overall is shrugging off this uncertainty in the stock markets fairly well. And as far as it affects the truck market, that's steady to upwards going forward, I think.
That sounds like very positive news.
Yeah.
Now, you track average price and average mileage for used trucks very carefully. What's the latest with that data?
Going into 2011 and up until recently, on the retail and wholesale markets, price and mileage had been increasing in tandem, which means buyers were paying more money for trucks with higher and higher mileage. The takeaway there is that buyers were cherry picking the lower mileage trucks out of the retail and wholesale markets, leaving only the trucks with the higher mileage. We may have seen an end to that behavior a little bit on the wholesale side. Right now we're at a situation where trucks going through auctions average about $32,000, and we're talking about trucks that are about 6 years old with 650,000 miles. So we've returned to a bit of a traditional relationship between price and mileage on the wholesale side. On the retail side, though, I think we're still seeing increased demand for trucks with higher mileage. 4-year-old trucks, which is one benchmark that I look at, 4-year-old sleeper trucks, leveled out at about $65,000 going into July. August saw an uptick in that figure, even though mileage is about 80,000 higher than it was in January, which is a pretty impressive increase in mileage, but people are still paying more for that truck. So people are paying upwards of $65,000 for a 4-year-old truck with about 450,000 miles on it, which is a historically high figure for those stats.
Historically high figure.
Yep.
So we're seeing a trend that's rather long-term?
I think so. There's a tight supply of 2008 to 2011 model year trucks due to the low new truck build, as nobody really bought new trucks throughout the downturn. So there's that big gap in model years. 2009 to 2011 in particular will be almost non-existent going forward. So there are really going to be very few low mileage trucks on the market, and that's going to make those prices of those trucks continue to head upwards going forward.
This almost sounds similar to what's happening in the car market as well.
Very similar scenario, very similar. Yep.
But despite all of this mixed economic news, commercial truck market remains strong?
Sure.
What do you see happening in the fourth quarter?
More of the same. In fact, if we are increasing now, August numbers point to an increase in both the larger sleeper market overall and the newer trucks. I don't see that decreasing now, because if it increased for August, this would have been the time when I would have expected to see some type of flattening out as mileage increases, up into the 600,000 mile range for the sleeper market overall, upwards of 450,000 on the 4-year-old truck market. But if people are still paying increased prices for those trucks, that's extremely encouraging for used truck pricing. And if you look at the economic stats overall, U.S. industrial production has not fluctuated all that much. Like I said, you might have expected it to have declined quite a bit based on the negative economic news we've had, but that's really just the stock markets. And it hasn't trickled into the industrial production manufacturing sectors to a great extent. And it really hasn't affected the freight tonnage to a large extent either.
So there's an underlying strength to the American economic recovery.
A continued strength, yeah. It hasn't wavered that much yet.
Well, Chris, thank you very much. We appreciate the positive news.
Well, thank you, David.